Welcome to Sewing Out Loud, the official podcast of Zede Sewing Studio. Here are your hosts, Zede and Mallory.
Sewing Out Loud. Hello, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Mallory Donahue.
And I'm Zede Donahue.
And we're going to cover a fun topic today that can be turned into a neato activity. And it can be practical, and it can be artistic, and it can be all sorts of stuff. And that is how to laminate your own fabric. Okay?
Or any fabric.
Or whatever.
Fabric,
I mean,
blah,
you have to
yeah.
own it. You shouldn't steal it.
You shouldn't,
And
and then take it back to the
Yes.
store.
You shouldn't steal fabric and then laminate it. It should be or unless someone asks you to do it to their fabric
For them.
with their permission. So laminating fabric is the process of coating it with something. We're going to discuss a product. It's called Heat and Bond Iron-On Vinyl, or there are lots of different brands, so we'll link to some of those products in the show notes that you can see, you can use them. But we'll describe this process, and then I also want to talk about the lamination process that we used in bookbinding in Paris.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, is a little different. So the first time, I can't remember how we got inspired to do this.
You did.
I know,
Somehow.
but I don't know what I was doing.
What were you making? Were you trying to make something?
I don't remember.
I remember Kathryn finally making a pencil case, but what happened before that?
I don't know what happened before that.
She actually made her fabric,
Yes.
and then, yeah.
So what happens here is it's basically, you got fabric or whatever, but then the product is an iron-on vinyl. It is
Right.
plastic.
It's fused with heat.
Yeah, that
Right.
will adhere to your fabric and make it shiny, water-resistant, coated with plastic, right?
Looks like those vinyl-coated tablecloths.
Yeah, so there are things out there like oilcloth,
Right.
and like PUL, okay, which is the polyurethane, coated laminated
Right.
stuff, right? That people use to make like diaper covers and all that jazz. You can buy the PUL fabric, and I would recommend that for certain projects where this technique where you do it yourself is good for smaller scale things. Now, I do think that we had somebody who made a raincoat.
Yeah.
For a kid.
We
Or
did.
something
We had somebody
like
that
this. Yeah.
laminated
Oh,
yardage.
Mom, I know how this happened. It happened with a customer who came into the shop, and she'd done this, and it made me want to do it.
Oh, okay.
And then, so what she did with her kids was that they took fabric and they splatter painted it, and they laminated it and made bags out of it.
Oh, okay.
So
It's a big thing for bags.
Yeah,
and you can do it for bags. You can do your inside or your outside or both.
That's right, because it'll make it.
So, if a makeup bag that gets makeup in it, and makes it wipeable,
easy to clean.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So the that inspired me, and what had happened a few years before is you had been sitting on vacation with Kathryn,
right,
with your first grandchild, Kathryn, and drawing with crayons on
Right.
some paper.
right,
You came up with this feathery, pretty design.
yes,
And then we had a teacher who was doing a lot of stuff about transferring photos to fabric, printing things onto those printable fabric sheets.
Right.
Right. So then we did that with yours, and we
Right.
had this sample laying around the shop.
for years, 3 years.
No, it's longer than that, I swear. Yeah, because
Probably
this paper that you've drawn on with crayon is curling up and
up
getting
and
old.
The ends are looking like parchment or something.
But the fabric paper that we'd printed it out on was looking pretty crisp because its backing had never been removed.
Right.
Looking good. But we were showing, hey, you can scan this in or you can copy and you can put in this product. Oh, I'm sure there are tons of names. We'll link to it in the show notes. This fabric paper where you put it into your printer.
Right. The paper is fused, or the fabric is fused to a paper that will go through your printer.
It makes it printable.
Right. Makes it stiff like paper.
You can do this yourself.
Yes.
You can
and we did do it ourselves.
Yeah, you
yes.
can put freezer paper on the back.
Right.
You can, of course, fabric is printed on
Right.
big, huge digital printers sometimes, right?
They're bigger than your home printer, probably.
Yes. So we had that, and then this customer came in and showed the bags, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can design my own like vinyl fabric, and it would seal the paint or the drawing in or the whatever, So I took that drawing that you'd made and that we'd printed out on the fabric transfer paper, and I laminated it. And I followed the instructions for laminating. And then I made a bag, but then I wrote a blog post because I think that I included a few more tips that I thought would be helpful. So things that are going to help you to use the iron-on vinyl to laminate your own fabric are an iron or a press. If you have a press, that can be super duper helpful. And also Teflon pressing sheets.
Yes.
Right, Mom?
Have to.
Now, the iron-on vinyl company doesn't say that you have to, but we highly recommend it.
Yeah,
yes.
I can't imagine that you would want to put an iron on the vinyl.
Well, they don't. No, they have used the backing.
I mean,
paper.
they have the
yeah.
backing, but still.
Mm-hmm. So what we would do to laminate the fabric, and we showed this in the blog post that we'll link to, is I would prep my fabric, get it all ready, cut it to the size I wanted, because this laminating stuff's kind of expensive. You don't want to be like laminating yards and yards and yards of stuff if you aren't going to use it, And I'd lay down one Teflon pressing sheet onto my ironing board. So there it is. It's my protector. It's my base. Lay my fabric down. And then you peel away the vinyl from the backing that it comes on. You put it on there. And then you proceed to press it onto your fabric. And so this worked with the fabric that we designed, that we'd drawn pictures and we printed it on that printable fabric. And I also did it with just like regular quilting cotton, like some thinner stuff. And then I did other cool things with it. But the Teflon pressing sheets, getting 2 rather large Teflon pressing sheets, can make your life with fusible stuff so much better, so much safer, so much simpler. Okay. So
ruin less things.
So you're ironing that on. When you iron it on, what are your tips for ironing it on, Mom?
You press. You don't go back and forth. You press down. And you follow the manufacturer's instructions.
That's right. So they say to hold it for like so many.
Is it like on silk or something? I can't remember the setting.
Well, there's a setting, and then they also say like hold it for 20 seconds at a time or something.
I mean, whatever that manufacturer's instructions are, that's what should be followed.
So talk about using a press with it. I mean,
yeah, we used a press, which was wonderful because a press does a bigger area all at one time. You're not looking at any sort of marks from the iron, it's a nice flat surface. You don't see the holes of the iron or, the edge of the iron. So I love presses. I mean, I just love presses.
Yes.
And
how many presses do we have? Do we have 2 or 1?
No, we only have 1.
Oh.
But it's a big one.
Yes.
We have a big one. So, which is not really very big. What is it, 18 inches across or something?
Yeah, I mean, there are bigger.
8 inches deep or something like that. But there's nothing like them. And the pressure you get is amazing because it locks down and gives a pressure. So
an even.
That's right.
Consistent.
Right.
Hard. Like,
right.
Say hard.
So anytime I fuse anything.
Yeah.
Which is not that often, really. But I use that.
Yeah. So you can design your fabric, or you can just get like normal fabric or whatever, and you can apply this laminating film to it. And Teflon pressing sheets are your friend. Just get 2 of the biggest ones you can find.
2 of the biggest ones you can find.
2 of them,
and one will work sometimes because you can just fold it over if you're in a small area.
That's right.
But a lot of times you will need 2.
Yeah, so you want to make a sandwich. You want to make a sandwich. If you only have 1, it's kind of like a hoagie, right?
That's
or
right.
whatever, or a hot dog bun, okay? But having those 2 layers can be so very helpful. And the fabric, with the products that I have used, that Heat and Bond iron-on vinyl, the fabric stays very flexible still.
Yes, it's very pliable.
It's not super
stiff.
And Yeah, and like I will even, I'll have a little margin around my fabric that I've laminated. And of course, that's down on the Teflon pressing sheet, on the Preflon testing sheet.
Teflon pressing sheet.
On the Teflon pressing sheet, I'll have it down there. And then when it cools, like it's not, you would think that vinyl would like shrivel up or something or what. It doesn't.
Yeah,
It's
no,
really
nice.
cool. So
now, there are products from age old that were not as nice as that.
Right.
They've gotten better.
Right. So then you have basically your plastic coated fabric, and this can be for aesthetic reasons, or it can be for, like you said, easy cleaning, or whatever. But it is kind of neat because you can just draw on fabric with Sharpies, right?
Absolutely.
You can go right on there, but then you need to heat set it, or you want to protect it or whatever, and laminating is one way to do that.
Well, it makes great placemats.
Placemats also. Well, and so what I want to do is take a break and come back and talk about sewing with your newly laminated fabric. Now, is that a good idea or
good
what?
Idea.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah?
You can feel free to compliment me.
Oh, no. On what?
On this.
What?
My feel free to compliment me enamel lapel pin.
Oh, Mallory, every time that you hear something wrong, are you going to make a lapel pin about it?
Maybe. Do you want one?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well,
isn't it teal?
Yes, it's teal and pink, and you can get one by going to sewhere.com/compliment.
Just so you know, I'm not putting it on my lapel. It's going on my hat.
Oh, it's going on your hat. It could be a hat pin, too. Okay. All right. So if you want to get in on the feel free to compliment me in on the club, go to sewhere.com/compliment and order our very first sewhere.com lapel pin. Sewing out loud. So what do you describe what you're looking at right now, Mom?
I'm looking at Kathryn 5 years ago, so she would have been 6. Oh, no. 7. She's 12. Well,
what was that memory, though, 5 years ago this year?
I don't know.
Yeah. You have like a screenshot of a Facebook memory.
Yeah.
She looks about 5 or 6.
Yeah, she's not very old because look at her writing. She probably just started school or something. So it's my fabric, like on the back of her pencil case, so you can see it coming over the top, and then it's her fabric that she made to coordinate with it, and she wrote Kathryn to make her pencil case.
Yeah, so I think I taught a kids class.
And she has no front teeth.
It's really cute. Yeah. This will be the featured photo of the podcast. I think I taught a kids class where I gave the kids just 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. I told them about where to put their name. Like they needed a little guidance.
We need to fold it over for the pencil case.
Right. The pencil case is going to get folded over, and like I'm pretty sure they wanted to see their name, right? So they got that guidance there, and then they got to color on it with whatever medium, and we copied it onto the fabric paper, and then laminated it and made a bag out of it. So when you're working with this laminated fabric, something that's really nice about it is it won't fray after it's laminated.
Right. So when you sew with laminated fabric that's plastic like that, do you put baby powder on your sewing machine, Mallory?
No, I do not.
Mallory, do you ever put baby powder on your sewing machine?
Nope.
But didn't we see that like on sewing TV one time?
We did. The only time you should put baby powder on a sewing machine is if you have a sewing machine tattooed on a part of your body where you want to put baby powder. Okay. How about that, Mom?
That's
you like
good.
that? You like
I
that?
like
You like
that.
that one?
That's
okay.
right.
So we're not against chafing or anti-chafing. Okay.
We're not against baby powder, and we're not against sewing on
machines.
vinyl, and we're not against sewing machines, but we are against putting baby powder, talc, on your sewing machine
So
for
don't do
many, many, many reasons.
So we covered that in our Sewing with a Vinyl podcast. It's a while back, but we did cover that. So when you sew with it, though, and especially with kids, it was really cool because we put in a zipper, but we didn't have to finish our seams,
right?
Because
your raw edge is secured by the vinyl.
Absolutely. So we laminated, like Mom said, according to the manufacturer's instructions. I'm pretty sure I just laminated this stuff for the kids with the press.
I think that's what we did.
Went so fast. It was great. So I needed 2 8.5 by 11 pieces to
Right.
make the pencil bag. And we used your drawing that you made with Kathryn on the back of her pencil case.
Uh-huh.
But I think what I did with the other kids was we just made 2 copies.
Uh-huh.
So,
Right.
that's what we did. And basically they got to design their own fabric.
That's right.
And we put a zipper in flat. Okay. So basically we made this like tube
A tube, right?
that had a
with
zipper up the
outside,
side,
right.
and then you kind of offset the zipper a little bit and sewed up the sides. Ta-da.
Right.
You could level up your pencil bag game by putting some buttonholes through it so it can go into 3-ring binder.
Yeah.
Okay, you can do that if you want to be real cool. If kids still use pencils and use 3-ring binders, I don't know.
Yeah,
Right, Mom?
really.
Okay.
Well, today it would be an
iPad
iPad
case.
case. Yeah, that's what it would be.
You're totally right. So
Actually, they do use pencils. I know they do.
So when you are sewing with this vinyl stuff, a lot of times people say, oh, vinyl or PUL, you got to use a Teflon foot. And Teflon feet are great. But on this project, with the kind of stitching we did, we actually, I guess there's top stitching around the zipper.
But you were stitching on the back side of it.
That's right. You don't always end up sewing onto the plastic
Right.
part when you are sewing vinyl. And in fact, I've run into a couple of projects like that where I was like, oh, I'm working with vinyl, but I actually never sew on
You never put the foot to the vinyl.
to the vinyl.
right?
But it can, depending on the
Right.
machine, it can get you caught up. That metal will stick on that plastic.
And what about the feed dogs on the vinyl, Mallory?
They can mark it up.
Yes. And do you use tissue paper?
No.
Why not?
Because tissue paper can get all broken up and eaten up down in your
that's
bobbin
right.
system. And it's better just to use some printer paper
That's right.
or tearaway stabilizer.
We say no tissue paper used in your sewing machine. No, no.
When that needle pierces
If,
printer paper.
if everyone will take a moment and think, there is
Yeah.
no product made out of tissue paper that they tell you to sew on with your sewing machine. Even people who pattern
tissue
piece-
fit, quote
Right.
unquote. Yeah.
Well, no, like on the sewing where you do
the
pattern
paper piecing.
Paper piecing. It is not tissue paper.
And tissue fitting, that's not like wrapping tissue paper
Nope.
either. It's like
Nope.
a thin paper.
That's right.
So the wrapping tissue paper is very fibrous.
It's
and-
very fibrous. It's very flaky, and it will
Uh-huh.
get in your bobbin system.
Yeah. So you just use normal paper. But once again, I just want to say
And keep that and that baby powder away from your
That's right.
bobbin mechanism.
But once again, I've also had the experience where I'm like, oh, I could use paper under here to make it slide
Right.
along my feed dogs. And then I end up never putting the vinyl down.
Or you
my
know
feed
what else
dogs.
you can use, Mallory?
What?
You can use low-tech painter's tape.
Oh, put it under there.
And
Mm-hmm.
then it stays right where your seam line is, and then it usually pops right up.
Yeah.
you've perforated it, and it'll come
It'll
right
come
off.
up.
Right.
So those
Don't leave
are,
it on there for a long time. Take it right off.
Those are all your options. I think we did top stitch over that zipper, but I will say this stuff, it ended up being
It was
so
pretty smooth.
It was so smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't, and maybe it's because it wasn't
And it
trying
wasn't
to
rubbery,
go,
I guess what I want to say, like tacky. It was smooth and
Yeah.
and slick.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't also catching up with the feed
Right,
dogs,
right.
like you said. So a Teflon foot though can help you, and a Teflon foot is actually coated with a nonstick coating on the bottom.
Right. If you don't
help
have a
you.
Teflon foot, you can take a piece of cellophane tape to the bottom of the foot, and that will give you sometimes a slicker surface, and that can help. But a Teflon foot to have in your barrage of of tools is not a bad idea.
Your armory.
Yeah, your armory.
Teflon
your
feet.
arsenal.
Yeah, Teflon feet will help you get over sequins.
Oh,
and
lots
leather.
of stuff. Leather. Lots of any.
I've
yeah.
had more problems.
Or those fabrics that have like the rubber designs
On
on them,
them,
you know,
yeah.
that's almost rubbery.
I've had more
it's
trouble.
latex, I guess.
I've had more trouble with leather
Yes.
kind of like sticking
Yeah.
to my machine than vinyl, I guess, just in what I've made. But I did want to say you said to put the cellophane tape on the bottom of the foot. So you take your foot, you turn it upside down, you put the cellophane tape on, and you kind of pierce out where your needle will go through the foot.
Make sure you have a hole where
Yeah.
your
And you can leave
Right.
that on there. Take it off as soon as you can, though. You don't want it
Right.
to stay on and get gummy, right?
Yeah, if it gets gummy, you're gonna have to take some acetone and clean it off. Now, if you have
Acetone or alcohol?
if you have a plastic foot, you better use alcohol.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. If you have a metal foot, you can use acetone.
Okay. So yeah, you maybe want to use a Teflon foot. You also want to use a little bit of a longer stitch length on this stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
I'd probably use a 4 most of the time.
Yeah,
3.5, 4.
I think a 3.5, 4.
Denim needle is nice,
Mm-hmm.
or a microtex needle. Denim needle's nice because it's Teflon coated.
It's lubricated. Yeah.
Yes, and microtex needle is very sharp and pierces very, very easily.
I wanted to go back to stitch length because I think it was Lisa who, she like chose a stretch stitch on her machine for something, and it made her fabric wave. And we were like, oh, lengthen the stitch. She's like, oh, well, the automatic, the default or whatever,
Right.
it was 2 or 2.5. And I'm just kind of like, I think that might be like if a sewing machine manufacturer asked me about their automatic computerized electronic sewing machines, what should the default stitch length be on a stretch stitch?
A stretch stitch,
I'd
right.
say, hey, let's bump this up from where it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised it was 2.5.
I think that is. Now Mom's walking over to her machine. Yeah, like look at the lightning stitch or whatever they call a stretch stitch, and see what it is. So, yeah, when you are working on something that's stretchy or something that would maybe have a little trouble feeding through your machine. So we've talked about how like vinyl and leather, they can actually like stick to the bed of your machine. That's why you're using a Teflon foot. That's why we talked about. Yeah. Yeah. Well, come over here and talk into the microphone. So say what you just said, Mom.
It is 2.5 on the machine. Now, they may just use that too as a default, so you have it in your head that everything's a 2.5.
I know.
But
I don't think it's
okay. So what should Lisa
wrong.
have done?
Well, she should have tested.
That's right. Lisa should have done what I told her. She should have tested her stitch on a scrap piece of fabric first.
And that is
there's those that test and those
who
wish
wish they had
tested.
Yes. So there you go, Lisa. The longer stitch length can help though with some of those feeding issues. When I say longer, we're talking about default straight stitches tend to be about 2 or 2.5 millimeter stitch length. So
yeah, 2 is really tiny.
Bump that up. I've seen it though.
Yep.
I've seen it on machines.
I have 2.
Bump that up. Use your Teflon foot. I actually quilted some laminated fabric. I put my laminated.
You did.
Yes. I put my laminated fabric. I just laid it on top of some Annie Soft and Stable. And then I went over to the Baby Lock Sashiko machine and I made a diamond pattern in my quilting. And, the Sashiko machine is great for quilting on top of this type of thing because the foot actually like kind of hops up.
It hops up
Yeah.
and moves. It lifts up and then it's like a walking foot mechanism.
Kind of, yeah. Like it's kind of stomps a little bit. So it worked great. So if you've got a Sashiko machine at home and you want to quilt on some laminated fabric, go for the gold.
There you go.
And I made like a cover out of it is what I did. And it was a lot of fun. So you can quilt on it. You can embroider it, right?
Yes.
We made some robot applique designs.
That's right.
Where they were done in the embroidery machine. And they were scraps, right? They were scraps of the laminated fabric. And it was cool to use something shiny to make the robots. So other appliques can work too. And I think that a project that got developed in the shop was a little mug rug.
It was, yes. And I think because, of course, you could just wipe it off. Like, in other words, a baby-ish placemat.
Well, and what it was, so a little placemat, but it wasn't all laminated. There was just one little part, one little applique. So that was where you rested your spoon.
Yes.
Okay, so that was easy to wipe off. So it's like you stirred your coffee or your tea or whatever.
I think another thing
we
made were some sort of like a little candy dish thing. It was...
I made some baskets.
Yeah.
That were laminated.
Yes.
Little fabric baskets.
Yeah.
So
I think we actually took a picture of some candy, like, and printed it on.
Did we do that?
We took the labels off and laid them on the printer and copied them. That's what we did. We took labels off of little Hershey candies.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah, and made I can't remember why.
I don't remember that.
We did.
I believe you.
Yeah,
That
I think
sounds,
you might have been in Europe when we were
sounds
doing
like
that.
a really good idea.
Yeah, but it
or
was
like,
fun.
what about like colored candy wrappers?
Right,
Like how much
right,
fun that
right.
Okay, so it can really help you.
We have
my
an
God,
idea.
oh my
Oh,
God.
no,
I know. I'm like candy wrapper underwear.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
wow.
maybe not laminated. I don't know. Oh, but man, people talking about latex, making latex undies.
Ooh, no.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. It's
not
a thing.
for me.
Not for you.
No. Ooh. Wouldn't that pull on stuff?
I think they get rid of all the stuff first.
Okay.
Before they do the latex.
Yeah.
But
wow. Ooh. But just think
Just
about sitting on latex.
So just calm down over
Think
there.
about sitting on latex.
People are interested in latex wear for like parties and things like that, but latex really cannot be sewn.
I don't want to go to that party.
I do. They're really cool. Latex cannot be sewn. Latex is heated and glued
it's
together.
fused, right.
Okay, you can't sew with it. So if you want though to mimic the look of something shiny, and
then
slick
maybe
like
that way the latex wouldn't be next to your
that's
skin.
true. You won't get quite the same look as latex, but laminating.
What a shame.
Laminating your own fabric.
Wouldn't that be a pity?
I think I need to expose you to the world of latex, Mom.
I know. I've worn latex gloves, and that would be the only place I would want to wear them.
Okay. Don't worry, everybody. James was talking about his latex process, and I was so super
I'm not. I don't want. I
engaged
just
and
don't
curious.
want latex on my butt.
No one will make you do that.
Okay.
But if you are looking for that look, laminating your own fabric will make it more
If you're looking for that
constructible.
look, it's Mallory Donahue at SewHere.com.
It's
not Zede.
It's just Mallory.
Oh, it's just
at
Mallory.
sewhere.com.
It's Mallory. And it's not Zede. Zede won't answer those questions.
Zede's not going to
'cause
do it.
She'll just say, don't know.
So I've never made myself a very close-fitting garment out of laminated fabric, but I have out of other stuff. But if you want that look of the shiny, of the, laminated look or whatever, this can be used for garments.
Yes.
You can make
Yes.
it. We talked about a
Yes.
raincoat, but, you could make a bra out
Yes.
of laminated fabric,
Yes.
and it could be super cool. Now, it doesn't work as well on, like, 3D surface design stuff.
No, it needs to be something smooth.
I mean, when I say it doesn't work as well, you can give it a try. Because if you laid lace over another base fabric
right.
and you laminated it, like something would happen there. I'm not exactly sure what.
Well, it will fuse, but it's not. It's really not that thick. Like
right.
It's a very fine film.
So experiment. I think, and why I brought up the quilting thing is because some people, brought up that they want quilted laminated fabric. And I'm like, well, you have to laminate it first and then quilt it. You don't quilt things and then laminate it.
Right, because it's not going to go in those little grooves and valleys and things.
No, it won't. You won't
Not
get it.
well. Or what will happen is it will pucker later.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see someone making some kind of like fiber art where this is desirable, but for what we're talking about,
if we're talking about functionality, it's not going to happen.
If you want that smooth look there, I washed and dried it, and it didn't pucker on me.
Right, as long as it's not too hot.
I would just recommend not drying it.
Right.
Okay, like just to be completely safe,
Yes.
And if you do dry it and it puckers or bubbles on you, this was applied with heat, it can be damaged with heat.
That's
Anything
right.
can be damaged with heat though, right?
Absolutely.
Especially plasticky things.
Yes.
So keep that in mind as you launder and do your stuff. And now I really want to make a laminated bra. I think that'd be so fun. Like shiny bra, So design my own fabric, laminate it, make a bra out of it. Okay. So Mom's just looking off in the other direction like, okay, Sure, Mal.
Whatever.
Yeah, follow your bliss, right? Okay, so that's how you want to care for it. You should just be able to wipe it
Right.
and things like that. Now, if you really want to make seams watertight, there is a product
that you can go back.
Yeah, you sew your seams and then you apply this like seam sealant stuff.
Right.
And it's when I say seam sealant, I don't mean like fray block. I mean it's like a tape.
Yeah.
That gets either fused down or glued.
It's more.
Yeah.
Vinyl.
It would like make a tent seam
Yes.
waterproof.
Yes.
Okay, like that kind of thing. Okay, so that's what we're talking about with that. Now,
You might have a lot of trouble using this product and making a tent because it would take you a lot of pressing.
also, like on
But
my
you
bra, I
you
don't
can make
need
a
it to
Barbie
be,
tent.
yeah, on my bra, I don't need it, right, Mom? Like
Right.
I don't need to
Be
seal my
waterproof.
seams.
No.
Yeah, like on your pencil bag, you don't need to seal your seams.
So tell me about binding a book.
Sure. So I can't remember if we had laminated fabric before I went to Paris or after. What do you think? I can look at the.
I don't know. I think it was after, but
I think it was after as well. But like I knew what the word lamination meant.
Well, that's
or
good.
so I thought. Like, you know, I'd been in the public school system and seen my teachers like laminate things. And teachers out there, I know we have a lot of them listening. I just know how much you love lamination.
well, I have things
Yay.
laminated, yes.
Yes, it's fabulous. You know, it's like you did something and then you preserve it and it's all shiny, right?
Right.
And you cut it out. I used to help cut out laminated cards.
I see.
Right? So the lamination process, though, that we used, what she called it, lamination. So we all took our fabrics that we decided to use for the outside of our books.
Right.
And we basically painted a paste over them and put them on a board
Okay.
and applied this paste
Uh-huh.
and let it dry.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't like vinyl. This
Right.
is like old school, impregnating the fibers with something that would make it sturdier and more water resistant. Right. And
More durable in
what
general.
I think it was like, oh man, I really wish I could.
Was it like a polyurethane or a varnish?
No, it was not. It was like natural. I think it had like flour in it or something.
Oh, okay. It was gluten.
When I say paste.
It was gluten.
Yes. And when I say paste, that's what I mean.
It was gluten.
I'm sure I can look it up. I have actually.
So let me tell you about
wait.
how Mallory's father felt
okay.
about her laminating books in Paris on our tuition payments. So we're not wealthy people, but Mallory thought we were. Mallory thought like we were the Rockefellers. So she said, I'm going to Paris for a semester. Actually, no, I'm going to Paris for more than a semester because I'm going to go visit these people I know in Europe first. So Mallory's gone, I don't know, was it 6 months maybe?
8 or 7 or something. Yeah, 6 to 8
Long
months.
time.
I don't know.
But anyway, so we have to pay the bills while she's gone. And then in order to keep her actually enrolled in school and get credit for this class in
Paris.
at college, right? So Paris counts on, the college back home. We actually have to pay for a meal plan while she's gone. My husband's like, can we go over there and eat lunch? But anyway, they needed to make some money while she wasn't there.
Right.
But we get a bill or some sort of whatever, from this agency that has her over there in Paris. And it says, ballet, that was bad enough, right? Okay, that we're paying all this money for her to take ballet in Paris. And then it says bookbinding. And he says, oh my gosh, do you know she's over there? Do you know how much this costs? Do you know that she's taking bookbinding? And I'm like, talk to your daughter. And he goes, she's taking bookbinding. He goes, how many people do you know out there are binding book by hand? He just like,
Hey, Mom, do you know that you were running a sewing machine dealership?
it was just a shock. It was just a shock to him. Because she wasn't here, I had to hear about it for like 30 hours.
Bookbinding is the bomb, okay? And I learned a lot.
Well, especially if someone else is paying the bill.
Yeah, it's really the bomb then. So that's the lamination process. So I still have the linen book that I laminated like this linen fabric. And so it feels a little bit like thicker and stiffer.
It's starch.
Yeah, it's starched. It's starched out the yin yang. And so I thought that was just an interesting, this is there are different types of
Well,
lamination.
laminate means to layer things.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It's
It's a laminated countertop.
Yes. Yes. I thought it was just interesting to get, and everybody just had a great time. My linen was sort of textured, so it wasn't quite as apparent as someone else's. I think someone used like a batik or a wax print.
So it was real smooth.
And it did look shiny.
Right.
Theirs did look sort of shiny. Not as shiny as like when you iron polyurethane onto something. But that is what happened. So anyway, you can laminate things all sorts of different ways.
And you can learn this if you pay a lot of money and go
I'll
to Europe.
link to my bookbinding teacher's studio in this podcast episode. Her name is Eloise Baya. And when I went back to Paris with Frank a few times and did that print and everything, I visited her studio. She's still there. She's making a living bookbinding and paying for a studio.
Off of us poor Americans.
And there you go. Off of teaching college students and stuff. No, actually, some of the stuff she did, people would contract her to bind art books.
Yeah, sure.
And she would make the boxes for them. And it was really cool.
I bet.
What she did. And actually, I didn't interview, that's the wrong word. I inquired and with a professional bookbinder who lives in the Hudson Valley in New York about interning there that summer after, but I didn't end up doing that.
Oh, I thought we were going to have to pay for box making or something.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
So it did open up a lot of things for me. So anyway, laminating fabric. All right. And then you don't sew the fabric onto the book in that type of bookbinding that I did with the linen. It's all glued.
It's all glued.
It wasn't, I sewed the pages together, but anyway. All right. So this is
your venture into lamination.
There's lots of different ways to do
It really is fun with kids too, and they can, to be able to make something like that or a little purse.
Yeah,
or
when they
a
can take
wallet
the
or whatever.
ownership over it by designing the fabric.
Yeah,
so cool.
And they just jump into it. They're not like you and I go, oh, what am I going to make? They just go for it.
That's right. So this can be a fun activity to do. You can incorporate that laminated fabric into another project or make the whole project out of laminated fabric or whatever. And we have this really cute picture of Kathryn that we'll get to share with you all. She's 12 now, but
yeah, she's very old.
Yeah, she's an old
kid,
old grown up, almost a teenager.
Taller than me.
She's going to be a teenager this October.
Yeah, taller than me.
Okay. Well, thank you all for listening, and you can find us on Instagram at Zede's Sewing Studio or sewhere.com. Everybody's going to know when we batched these episodes out. And you can sign up for our newsletter at sewhere.com/lovenote and email me at mallory@sewhere.com if you have questions or concerns about your favorite sewing podcast. Take it away, Mom.
We want you all to sew long and sew happy.
Thanks for listening to Sewing Out Loud. For even more expert sewing advice, visit sewhere.com.